As a Filipino myself, I have made it a personal mission to start advocating for increased representation of Filipinos in a variety of different careers in Canada. This is the start of a new YouTube series tackling this issue, but also sharing the experiences of different individuals in a variety of different careers. I encourage you to stay tuned for more of these videos. A few months ago, I've had the pleasure of interviewing Mark in regards to his medical school experiences and his reasons for pursuing a medical degree in Canada. He is the co-founder of FAMS, which stands for the Filipino Association of Medical Students, which is an organization based here at the University of Toronto, where they aim to advocate for increased representation of Filipinos in medicine. After joining one of their sessions, I was inspired to advocate for the increased representation of Filipinos, not just in medicine, but in other disciplines as well. I hope that through this channel, I would be able to inspire you and anyone and everyone, Filipinos and non-Filipinos alike, to pursue a career that you are most interested in. Mark is a fourth-year medical student at the University of Toronto. He completed a 5-year undergraduate degree at the University of Waterloo, completing a Bachelor of Science through a major and co-op program in health studies. I asked him to do a quick rundown of what his program looked like.
We would do all of first year in class with lectures and then have the 4 months of summer vacation. In second year, that's when our schedule started transitioning to in class for 4 months and then working for 4 months. It alternated back and forth. Later on in fourth year, we would have 8 months of work and 8 months of school, but most times it was in intervals of 4 months.
He mentioned that there were a variety of potential jobs under the Faculty of Health, for example, working in government or research positions. Different people have their own personal reasons as to why they want to pursue a career in medicine. Some are inspired by a close family member, some aspire to have a career where they are constantly learning, and some simply want to help people while combining an area of interest. Mark originally used his co-op experience to explore the different areas of employment in the healthcare system and to get an understanding of the different environments and different teams across a variety of disciplines. He shares with me some of his reasons as to why he considered and ultimately decided to pursue a career in medicine.
So I was always interested in health, didn't really know exactly what aspect of health I would like to contribute in. And so, for example, doing research in the hospital taught me that I enjoy the research component, the whole analyzing and discovery and answering questions that can potentially change how patients are treated in the future. I also didn't mind the hospital setting and really enjoyed interacting with patients as well as other frontline staff.
He has some experience working in a government setting as well, where he gained a newfound understanding of the behind-the-scenes processes of delivering those resources to hospitals or care services.
It also taught me that I prefer not to be in an office setting. I miss being in front lines, interacting with patients.
Mark realized that he loved certain elements from his experiences and reminded him some of the values that he admires in physicians. Forming bonds with patients and following them over time, applying new literature to medical practice, and even the flexibility to work in research, education, and policy making as well. Medicine is such a multifaceted career where you can apply elements of life science, humanities, and even social sciences.
That's also something that we don't really know until we're actually in medical school. In Canadian society, physicians have a certain role, not just to directly provide care, but also to take part in a number of other initiatives that in some ways lead back to helping society as a whole, whether that be through the health or addressing things that influence health.
There is a reason why a lot of medical schools now accept students from a variety of different disciplines who have different experiences and academic backgrounds. There are some students who have been accepted into medicine who have a music background or a business background, so long as they complete the mandatory prerequisites. There are so many transferable skills that you can apply from these disciplines into medicine.
That's more recent thing, I think, moving towards increasing their diversity. This is under the belief that the people serving the population, whether that be doctors or other frontline staff, should be reflective of the population they serve. Right now, that belief is widely accepted, and then maybe in the future, we would be working with physicians with a huge variety of backgrounds, whether that be their upbringing, their education, even just their life experiences in general.
I then asked Mark to share some of his experiences that influenced him to consider a career in medicine, stretching back from his time in undergrad, but also back in high school.
In the summer of 2012, like 8 years ago, I went on this Arctic expedition for 2 weeks. And basically, it was with an organization called Students on Ice. It's a non-profit organization that takes kids from around the world, like usually high school students, and then brings them to the Arctic and Antarctic regions and give them like at that time 2 week expedition, hands-on exposure to what life is like there. And that includes like the people living there, the environment, the animals, and like a lot of factors from around the world affect these regions. And at that time, I was already considering the idea, I want to be part of health. And at the moment, I really was fascinated by how environment affects health. How can we help a community help themselves? How do we help a community become more healthy? From there, though, because there were students from around the world, I got pretty good exposure to a vast variety of different cultures and languages. And so that fascination for languages and culture and diversity sort of carried forward in undergrad, where I would help a lot with like various programs. International students would come and study at University of Waterloo. I would help them get introduced to the university culture, help answer questions around like what is Canadian culture like, and pretty much help them along that transition point from wherever they came from to become more comfortable in their undergrad program. That combined with my co-op experiences, these are like the things that influenced me into considering career in medicine.
They look for someone who has the potential to be a healthcare leader. Here, Marck shares some aspects of the program that appealed most to him that convinced him to apply to the U of T medical program.
As you already know, like U of T is situated in like a very diverse municipality, Toronto, or GTA in general. So as someone that's like very interested in diversity and how we can use diversity as a tool to pretty much better our understanding of people and each other, Toronto it seemed like a perfect place to explore those ideas and build upon that interest. The U of T has thankfully been a very supportive program. For example, any initiatives that are brought forth by the students, they would very much encourage their students to continue pursuing those goals in whatever form they think is best. And they provide like a whole bunch of resources, like finance-wise, locations, and the logistical settings of, say, like if you want to do a workshop, they can connect you to like where you can host a workshop.
He goes on to mention that U of T has a broad range of speakers and those who have worked in a multitude of workplace settings. You are likely to share a common interest with a staff member or a physician, and U of T does a good job in connecting those two individuals. Now, going on to the work-life balance in medical school, Marck does share that he has achieved the impossible. There is a common misconception that medical students have no life, but Marck goes on to interject that there is some truth to this.
It depends on how people manage their time and how they study, but I've seen like the entire spectrum in medical school, where there are people that essentially like study for hours on end, you know, like sacrificing their sleep, sometimes even food, and of course like social connections. And then there are some people that are able to maintain all those things, like social connections, get 8 hours of sleep, sometimes even more, and like continue like in terms of maintaining physical health, mental health, and just getting by in terms of studies. Depends on the person, but there's no right way to do med school.
There are professional advisors and resources that would help support students when there comes a time they could no longer maintain a good work-life balance or are in need of a break from their studies. They are there to guide students to plan out the best course of action, considering their physical and mental health first and foremost. Finally, I asked Marck what he would suggest to students who are considering a career in medicine.
Whatever you are passionate in, to really like harness that and find opportunities to support and build that. All those unique experiences that you're building upon will one day contribute to how you are as a future physician. I think like every experience at some point in some way can help better connect the physician to their patient. Depends on, of course, like how they try to establish that connection. If you're doing things that you're specifically passionate about, then I think the potential to take it to like a whole new level, like that whole new level is only achieved, I think, if someone were really passionate about that particular topic or issue or anything really.
If you're interested in research, go into research. If you're interested in taking on leadership opportunities on campus, go ahead and do so. The skills that you've gained through activities that you're passionate about can be transferable into the field of medicine. If you don't get accepted into a volunteer research position or an executive role, it's not the end of the world. You can definitely find those leadership positions and experiences elsewhere, so long as you make an effort to seek opportunities to gain those valuable skills. That's the most important thing. Marck goes on to mention that every skill can be transferable into medicine. It just depends on the way that you spin it.
Learning how to spin your experiences also a skill in and itself. That's probably easier of a skill to obtain if you know someone that has gone through the same path. And so I think that one really useful skill, at least what I found was very useful, is networking. Even though when someone has like a passion, depending on what the passion is, it's very likely that if you really delve deep into the passion, that you can connect with a whole bunch of people through that. And then I would encourage everyone to also harness the skill of networking. By networking, I mean like being able to connect with other people, like being comfortable building that newly formed connection into something that's potentially very impactful.
It goes on without saying that networking and having connections is extremely powerful. One of the barriers that I still personally face today is not being able to step forward or feeling intimidated by that person. It's easy to feel intimidated by someone because of their title, their accomplishments, their profession. But don't forget that they're humans underneath it all.
And sometimes we build these connections through our own existing connections. One opportunity leads to another opportunity. That's pretty much like how a lot of my interests have evolved over time, where it's mainly like, in high school, I was very interested in the environment. So I volunteered a lot in like different environment profit organizations. And then that led to opportunity to go to with Students on Ice. That opened up the doors for my appreciation for cultural diversity. And so one thing leads to another. It's mostly like trying to make new opportunities from your existing opportunities.
We have come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed that, please, I encourage you to leave this video a like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. And I encourage you to click that notification bell so that you're the first one to see my next video with Marck, where we go on to talk about his journey as a Filipino in pursuit of a career in medicine. I want to give 2 non-sponsored shoutouts. The first one to the FSAT community, or the Filipino Students Association of Toronto here at the University of Toronto, who have helped me tremendously cultivate my Filipino roots. They have a podcast on Spotify called Hahol, which stands for Hangout Lang, so I encourage you to check that out. In addition, if you're craving Filipino food in the next couple of weeks and you're in the GTA, there's a restaurant called Tala by Dundas, and they have an Instagram handle at tala.toronto. Unfortunately, their last service day is on March 22nd, so get that Kamayan kit while you still can. Once again, this is not a sponsored video. My intention was just to help out a couple of friends to spread the word about their business and their podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and thank you for the 45 subscribers. I can't even believe that there are 45 of you who sign up to get notifications and subscribe to this channel. Like, that's just, I find that absolutely insane. Thank you so much for your continued patience and support on this channel. And thank you to every single one of you out there who continues to watch all these videos. And I hope that you find them helpful. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, stay safe, but most importantly, stay groovy.